Looking to build momentum, Conservative leader Andrew Scheer leveled a baseless attack today against a non-existent Liberal NDP coalition.
To pay for even half of these never-ending deficits, the Trudeau-NDP coalition would have to raise the GST from 5% to 7.5%.
No party leader has said they'd raise the GST, but when challenged, Scheer stood by his claim.
Did you just pick it out of thin air? It doesn't, there's no evidence.
They will run these massive deficits, $40 billion of new deficits alone to pay for the NDP Liberal coalition promises. That money has to come from somewhere. Raising the GST from 5 to 7.5% is one option.
Those claims are entirely untrue.
We absolutely will not raise the GST.
Scheer did get some support for his made-up GST assertion from New Brunswick's progressive Conservative Premier. Blaine Higgs then went on to accuse the federal Liberals of dividing the country, in part by catering to Quebec.
So are you suggesting Quebec is maybe like the favorite child right now because nobody's saying anything?
Well, not right now. It's been a continuous thing. I mean, it's been forever, really. So that's not a new thing.
Interesting timing, considering Scheer's next stop was Quebec, where he's desperately trying to hang on to seats as his party bleeds support to the Bloc Québécois.
Merci beaucoup tout le monde. On ne lâche pas.
Scheer's made-up GST claim was no accident. His team hopes it scares supporters into showing up in big numbers on Monday. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Drummondville, Quebec.
I'm Salima Shivji with the Liberal campaign in Ontario, where Justin Trudeau is spending these final campaigning days right on message.
What an incredible pleasure to see everyone out here today, and everyone's so happy and positive, despite living in Doug Ford's Ontario.
Again, using the province's premier as a stand-in for federal Conservative leader Andrew Scheer, at every occasion turning back to a now familiar refrain.
With Doug Ford choosing cuts, cuts, cuts. And now Andrew Scheer wants you to double down on Conservative cuts? I don't think so.
Trudeau today is stoking fears of austerity, even in his response to that baseless GST claim by Scheer.
But all they're offering is cuts. Cuts 4 times greater than Doug Ford's. So perhaps that's all they can do, is make things up.
The Liberal leader needs Ontario to offset expected losses in Quebec and elsewhere. So Trudeau is now acknowledging
there is a chance that there could be a Conservative government, and that would mean cuts.
Leaning into fear and a call to strategic voting for progressive voters.
This election isn't about me. This election is about you. We will make life more affordable.
The Liberal team clearly feels the strategy is working. They're going for more rallies like this one as a show of force, and they're hitting 3 provinces tomorrow as they head west to repeat the same pitch over and over. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Vaughan, Ontario.
Uprising! Uprising!
I'm Hannah Thibodeau with the NDP in British Columbia, where Jagmeet Singh is pushing to win, but also fielding hypothetical questions about what he'd do if his party held the balance of power in a minority government.
Canadians want to know if they're going to have to go back to the polls.
Is there any circumstances where you could find agreement?
Andrew Scheer has promised the first thing he'd do is scrap the carbon tax. So in a Conservative minority, would Singh vote against it? No clear answer.
We're not going to support in any way Mr. Scheer being put into the Prime Minister's seat.
But in a potential Liberal minority, would Singh make NDP support conditional on cancelling the Trans Mountain pipeline? He seems to be more clear.
Yeah, so this is something that I've been really clear on. I am fully opposed to the Trans Mountain. I've been opposed to it. I will continue to be opposed to it.
Stop the pipeline! Stop the pipeline!
Opposed to the pipeline, but he didn't answer the specific question about whether cancelling it would be a condition of supporting the Liberals, despite being asked repeatedly. And Singh wasn't only looking forward today.
I said something yesterday that I feel really bad about.
He walked back comments he made yesterday, that he didn't respect Conservatives.
We've got to respect everybody. Difference of opinions are fine.
So this day was about striking a fine balance. Singh's job over the next 3 days is to appeal to as many voters as he can, while not losing any of the gains he's made over the past 5 weeks. Hannah Thibodeau, CBC News, Victoria, British Columbia.